everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of So Random and Weird Pod. I will be your host for today, Sarah.
And I'm Sheena.
Oh gosh, I'm wow. It's been a week. How about you? Oh,
Um,
congratulations on your job, by the way.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited. It's definitely something that I already kind of know how to do, but it's doing it in somebody else's preferred way. So that's different.
Well,
Just
I
another
was
state agency to work for.
but I was so thrilled. I was like, yay, yay.
You,
Um,
me.
Well, yeah, no, I know it's been a with all you would think that was all because I know a friend of mine, who's staying with us, kind of half staying with us. He's actually kind of homeless right now, and he's living in the shelter, a few buildings down from us. He's been really struggling to find work as well, and I'm thinking with all the jobs out here, like, why aren't people hiring? I mean, like, this is insane. Like, why this should not be this hard with all of
Well,
these
part of
jobs.
it is there are people who are scamming the system, obviously. Um, AI is doing a lot of it because, like, if you don't have the exact words that they're looking for, even if you're qualified, because they use a lot of
Mm,
screening AI. So if you don't have that exact look, on what the AI is trained on, you're not going to get it.
seriously.
Yeah, because I'm like,
That's
I've been turned down for so many jobs that I'm like, I could do that in my sleep because that's what I've been doing. And
that's
then also
ridiculous.
for me being neurodivergent as well as, I am such a creative out of the box thinker that a lot of companies don't like that. They want somebody who's going to be like, follow the rules. And I'm like, I found something better, but they don't want to do better. They just want you to follow their rules.
Wow.
So,
It's frustrating. I don't know. I mean, if something's not working, then the system is broken, and it should not be using AI, or they should go back to, like, people like, maybe I know it's more time consuming, but, I mean, they're missing out on so many potential employees and so many potential opportunities. I don't know.
mhm.
Maybe I'm just old school, but it's ridiculous, especially considering just that there's so many job openings and so many people who are unemployed that need work. So,
Yeah.
I don't get it. I hate it.
Yep. But
Ugh.
I know. But then also, it gives me a chance to get out of the house because now I could actually probably put myself into a place to actually write my book that I've always wanted and not have to sit here and stare at my four walls and maybe meet people. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe meet some people, but at least, like, to get out and get a paycheck again, and hey. So,
Yep.
oh,
How's
this,
how's I was just gonna ask
life
how's everything been? I mean, last week you were sick, so
well, and this week, we have no heat.
no.
Our furnace died.
Oh
Our
my
furnace
gosh.
died. And of course, right now, we're getting that nor'easter, um, which is fantastic. So we have space heaters going. I actually just ordered another space heater. Um, yeah, yesterday I went downstairs and I'm like, it is 62 degrees in this house according to my thermostat. Why? And
That's wonderful. I love 62 degrees.
yeah, well, when it's cold here, 62 is cold. So I was like, okay, what's going on? I mean, we had just gotten a shipment of oil. I went down and double checked the oil tank was full. Um, and we ended up having to call an emergency plumber, heating person to come out. And yeah, they said that basically we have a partially collapsed chimney. Um, which apparently that was, I guess, venting whatever into the basement, which I could never tell. But I was like, oh, it couldn't have, been like happy smoke or whatever. And maybe like, "Ee." No, but I mean, I my washer and dryer's in the basement, so I mean, I never noticed any kind of, like, venting or anything wrong. Um, and that, the furnace, he could try to fix it, but if anything were to break or I mean, there's no way they could replace it, like, the pieces because it's so old. It hasn't been, like, maintained in, like, years. I mean, and honestly, like, I never had people when we were renting this house before we bought it, we never had anyone come in to, like, maintain the furnace or, like, I don't know, I mean, I didn't even know you had to do that. I don't know. I know nothing about
Right?
this stuff. Um, and so, uh, it will cost at least, you know, I think he said between, like, 3 to 6,000 to do, like, the chimney
Whew.
repair and, like, and maybe fix the furnace if he can fix it, and he's not sure. And I was like, "You know what? It's old anyway. We know we have to replace it at some point in time. We might as well just replace it." But they gave us an
Mhm.
estimate of, like, between 20 to $25,000.
Well, oh,
And so I think we're gonna get a second opinion, even though this
yeah.
place that we know of is pretty reputable. I think we're gonna get a second opinion just in case because it is a lot of money, and we're still paying for our plumbing issue, that we had to take a $30,000 loan out for, last year.
Oh, oh,
So,
girl, you should
yeah.
look into, like, a home warranty thing.
Well, and that's what so we're gonna look into so my husband when he goes to work, hopefully if he goes to work on Monday, who knows with the snow, he's gonna be looking into, we have equity in the house to see if we can, like, refinance and get, a loan with, I guess, using the equity and stuff to see if but we also were gonna be getting Mike a new car because his car has over 200,000 miles, and he drives 75 miles a day to work and back. So, yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my house was built that I sold was built in '49, and
Okay.
getting a home warranty, which is kind of like insurance for your house, was one of the best things. Um I had quite a few plumbing issues with my house, and it would only cost me the cost of the service call on
Mhm.
it. I had my furnace go out on me, and they were just able to, like, replace a piece on it because I had a gas furnace.
Yeah.
Um, I had my water heater went out, and that
Yeah.
was only the cost of the service call. I had a pipe burst under my house,
Yep.
so and
Yeah, no, I
I
had talked to Mike about this when we actually were in talks of buying the house. I said, "We need to get, like, American Home Shield or so whatever it was
Mhm.
called." Um,
Yeah,
because I said in case, like, we need, like, and he's like, he would hemmed and hawed, and I'm like, "Ugh, we need to do this, we need to do this." And
yeah,
we didn't, and so now it's like, well, now we're paying
yeah.
for it, so
Mhm.
I don't know
Yeah.
if we're gonna look at it now after the but I mean, he's also looking to see if home insurance, if our home, our owner's insurance, will cover anything because it's a partially collapsed chimney. I don't know. But a
Mm.
friend of mine who does insurance said check. It wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
So, um, who knows? We'll see. But yeah, that's been
Well,
my life
I
this
guess
weekend.
then I guess then you don't wanna hear that it's 52 degrees outside here,
Shut up.
so
Shut up. It's snowing out here, and then let me tell you, when I 'cause I have a heater on here in my bedroom, a space heater, and when I leave my room, oh, it's nice and chilly. Nice and chilly.
see, I don't mind that. I keep my house at 60.
Yeah, but when it's like, freezing outside,
True, it does.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
we
know,
have,
I
like, no
remember those
insulation.
days.
Yeah, we have
Mm.
no insulation, like, our windows suck. Our walls are, like, so thin. Yeah, it's just rough, so, I mean, I sit down on our in the playroom well, I we call it used to call it the playroom when the kids were younger, we had all the toys in there, now it's like Mike's man cave, my office type thing. But when I sit down there, my chair's, like, right by, like, these beautiful, like, almost, like, floor to ceiling windows, I mean, they're, like, 3/4 length windows. I feel the wind. it's like
Yeah.
I'm sitting, like, in this, like, this air passage, and, like, the wind is just, like, blowing it at me, like, I literally have to put, like, and I've wanted Mike to, like, put, insulate, like, the plastic up, like, that with
Mhm.
the they use, like, with the hair dryer and stuff to, like, seal it or whatever.
Yeah, I've done
He's
that.
never done that. Yeah, he's never done that. Um, but I figured that would help with, like, heating bills and oil but yeah. But no, I mean, this includes no, hot showers either because, it also heats our water.
Oh, okay, I have been there.
Yeah, so Mike had to get a shower up at his mom's today. Thankfully, I mean, I work from home, so I don't, really have to leave. But I'm like, "Oh, I at least that's why I'm wearing my bandana today because like, my hair hasn't been washed in, like, 2 days 'cause, I went to get a shower yesterday, and I was like, "Okay, this is cold water." Nope.
Yeah, I when
So,
my water heater went out, had, I went to the gym and took showers at the gym.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm gonna have to, like, do, like, what the Amish do and sponge bath it, I think, with, like, using my electric, tea kettle or something, to heat up water. Oh my
Right? You're,
god.
like,
Yeah, I'm
boiling
gonna
a
have to
big, huge
Amish it.
stock pot.
Yep, I'm gonna have to Amish it and oh god. But, yeah. Alright. So, I got true crime. I have true crime, and, I am I wanna say excited, because who's excited to talk about true crime?
Right, you can't ever be excited or and it's
Yeah,
never
because you sound
quite
like Jeffrey Dahmer or something, like, "Hey, it's, like, true crime. Hey, here's a horrible story about murder and sexual assault and gore," and yeah. So, but this is a case, that really hit close to home because it happened in my hometown, in our hometown. I know it's not your technical hometown, but I consider it your hometown.
I
Um,
consider it still my hometown. I did a
do
lot
you
more
consider
growing
it?
up there
Okay.
than I did in
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I mean, I knew, Jersey girl and everything, but I just, I didn't know what you considered hometown.
Ephrata because I went to the most school there.
Okay.
Oh,
Gotcha.
hi,
Gotcha.
Rhiannon.
So, oh, a kitty cat. So, um, this this happened when I was, um, it was between my junior and senior year in high school, and it was a murder that gruesome murder that happened in my hometown of Ephrata, um, September of 2001, and, it involved, 4 people, um, Michael Bourgeois,
Rhiannon Marie.
um, Landon May, Driana Rodriguez, and Stephen Estes, and it truly rocked our small town of Ephrata, Pennsylvania. It truly rocked because I mean, murders just don't really happen, and especially the way that this happened was very gruesome and, um, very premeditated, and, so yeah, I'm gonna start off here. Michael what was really kind of interesting, or fascinating, I guess, to me was Bourgeois was actually in my homeroom, junior year, so the year before he killed his parents. I saw him every day at school. Um, and I wish I paid more attention, honestly, back then. Um, hindsight being 2020, knowing, what was gonna happen. I wish I would have, like, paid it more attention to him and studied him, trying to figure out why he did what he did. Um, but I mean, he seemed like a nice kid. I mean, he was quiet, but, he seemed friendly. He was actually really good friends with, an old classmate of yours and mine, Travis. They were the best of friends, and, I mean, I always saw him, like, laughing and smiling and he seemed like a normal kid. He was, um I don't know what ancestry he was. I know he was adopted, and I think, in Panama, his mom adopted his parents adopted him. But, I just wanted to give a little history, on Michael. Don't know, I was gonna say, I don't know, it didn't say, like, what, ancestry he was, but, so his sister, um, had said that her parents, um, already had 4 daughters when they adopted Michael. He was about a year old, while her father, who was a career Army officer, was stationed in Panama, so they adopted him in Panama. Um, his upbringing, there was a lot of anger in the house, during his upbringing, and that anger led to her parents' divorce. So her mother, who was Mike's obviously adopted mom, remarried and moved from Kansas to Ephrata in January of 2001, just 9 months before she and her new husband were murdered. Michael apparently didn't adapt well to the move. He didn't make new friends quickly, according to his adopted sister, and he resented his parents' efforts to get him involved in school activities. But I I I know that was her description of everything, but I mean, he seemed to have some friends. But apparently I guess he made some wrong choices with friends. Some of those friends, like I said, included Landon May, um, and Steve Estes. They, eventually ended up living together with Driana Rodriguez. Michael was apparently in a relationship with Driana's, daughter, and, eventually he went into a relationship with Driana Rodriguez, who was 17 years older than Michael at the time. He was 17, she was 35,
Hmm.
and their relationship was sexual, according to witnesses who were there, according to their testimonies. Juliana thought she was pregnant to Michael at one point in time. Apparently, they obviously were very affectionate in front of the teenage girls um, who gave testimony at court, uh, including oral sex. Um, and Driana was very, according to the girls who testified, very much in love with Michael and wanted to marry him someday. Remember, this is a 35-year-old woman and a 17-year-old boy.
She couldn't
Anyway.
wait until he was legal?
Well, exactly, exactly. And Michael's parents did not like him living with this woman. They did not like the relationship. And Michael uh, got very angry about that and wanted to do something about it. He wanted to live with his 35-year-old girlfriend and not have to worry about his parents. Uh, so, um, Driana, who was uh, nicknamed Mama D, um, supposedly masterminded this plan for the boys, and that's what they were called around the house, because Michael, Landon, and Steve all lived with Mama D.
Mm.
Um, she supposedly masterminded this plan for the boys to kill Mike's parents, stage it to look like a robbery so that Mike could live with Mama D and live happily ever after, apparently, because why wouldn't this work? So, they had to get yeah, so they had to get weapons and everything like that. So, on Saturday, September the 1st of 2001, Landon May, along with Steve Estes, Mike Bourgeois, and another guy named Raymond Navarro Perez, drove to the home of Lloyd and Beverly Good in Linnets, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, intending to commit a burglary. while the Good family was absent on vacation. According to their plan, the perpetrators gained entrance through a side garage and ransacked the home. They stole a 1996 green Chevrolet Suburban and a 1996 silver Saturn sedan. They also stole a number of weapons: a 22 caliber revolver, a 32-20 caliber revolver, a Marlin 12 gauge bolt action shotgun, an Ithaca 12 gauge pump shotgun, 30-06 Remington rifle, and please bear with me, I don't know weapons names, so, um,
I don't either.
but yeah, they bought they stole, like, BB guns and, cash, other assorted household and personal items, including dishes and, like, a taxidermist mounted fox. Why not? Why not? You know, you're
Well, I mean,
I love
plates, dishes,
I
and the
I love your
taxidermy.
look. I love your you're like, "What?"
I mean, granted, I like
Yeah,
besides cats and ravens, I love foxes. Like foxes are like my favorite animal outside of domesticated. Well, besides cats, because cats are just awesome, point blank. But
yeah,
I even
yeah. I
I have a hard
I mean,
time with taking
I'm sorry,
taxidermied animals.
if I'm breaking into a house, I'm not stealing friggin' dead animals. Just not. Why would
No,
you do that?
absolutely not. That is the
I'm
last thing
sorry.
that is
Like,
coming.
well, needless to say, they were idiots. They left fingerprints everywhere, so, anyway. But, the cars were later abandoned. Steve Estes was, found to be driving the one car. The other car, like I said, was abandoned. But on, September the 5th, 2001, police made unsuccessful attempts, to locate Michael at the residence of his mother, Lucy Smith, and her husband, Terry Smith, in Ephrata, because they had found his fingerprints in the house that they had burgled. So, that evening, the Smiths went to a home in Akron, which was leased to Drina Rodriguez to visit Mike, who had moved out of the Smith home about 2 months earlier to live with her, with whom he was, like I said, romantically involved. During their visit, the Smiths informed Bourgeois that the state police were seeking his whereabouts. On September the 6th, 2001, at approximately 10 a.m., the Ephrata Borough Police Department received a telephone call from an employee of Terry Smith. She advised the police that Terry Smith had not come to work during the morning hours of that day. He was an owner of a business in Ephrata. She said that she had not heard from him and that he usually reported to work in a reliable and consistent manner. She reported that Lucy Smith was also not at work, who she was an elementary school teacher at Martin Elementary School. So Detective David Shoop and Officer Douglas Heilman responded to the Smith's residence at approximately 10:30 a.m. on the morning of the 6th of September and attempted to gain the attention of the residents by knocking and ringing on the doorbell. They found the front door locked, but discovered that a rear sliding door was unlocked. The Detective Shoop then checked in with his office and learned that the bourgeois was the son of Lucy Smith, that his fingerprints had been discovered at the scene of the earlier burglary, and that firearms had been stolen from the house. Detective Shoop then requested additional assistance and was joined by Detective Ballinger and Sergeant Kurtz of the Ephrata Police Borough Department and Officer Diane Houston from the Ephrata Township Police Department. At approximately 10:55 a.m., the officers entered the residence through the unlocked sliding door and did a quick sweep of the front of the first floor, finding nothing unusual. Officer Heilman and Detective Shoop went upstairs and entered the master bedroom, where it was obvious that a struggle had taken place. They observed blood splatters on the mattress and wall and what appeared to be a body wrapped in a comforter on the floor in a pool of blood. This body was later identified as Lucy Smith. She had been severely assaulted on the left side of her head and shot in the head. Sergeant Kurtz located another body wrapped in bedding in a front bedroom, which was later identified as Terry Smith. This bedroom also showed signs of a struggle, and Terry Smith had been stabbed repeatedly and shot multiple times in the head. In the late morning hours of September the 6th, 2001, Corporal Raymond Guth of the Pennsylvania State Police and Detective Shoop went to the Rodriguez residence to interview Bourgeois regarding the good burglary. Bourgeois admitted that he and Perez had committed the burglary Bourgeois also stated that Perez had told him that the items taken from the burgled residence were stored at Perez's residence on Plum Street in Lancaster City. Bourgeois was subsequently arrested on the burglary charge. Detective Brad Ortinez, I'm sorry, Ortenzi of the Ephrata Police Department and Detective Sergeant Edward Tobin of the Warwick Township Police Department remained at Rodriguez's residence to interview her. During that discussion, which took place on the front porch, May came downstairs and Rodriguez introduced him to the detectives. May agreed to talk to the detectives, and after they finished their conversation with Rodriguez, so at about 3:30 p.m., the detectives began asking May about the whereabouts of Bourgeois over the few days leading up to the September 6, 2001 murders. Upon request by Rodriguez, the detectives left the front porch and they asked May if he would accompany them to the police station, and May agreed. During the conversation at the police station, May admitted to the detectives that he was involved in the burglary. Near the end of the interview, the detectives informed May that Bourgeois' parents, Mike and Lucy, Terry and Lucy Smith, were found dead, and asked if May had any involvement in their deaths. In response, May said that he wanted to talk to an attorney. The interview was concluded, and May was driven back to the Rodriguez's home. So, approximately 50 minutes later, hold on here. At 7:40 p.m. on September the 6th, detectives returned to the Rodriguez residence to arrest May for the burglary. The detectives were told that May could be found at his girlfriend's residence. They then proceeded to her address and arrested him. May gave a statement to the detectives in which he confessed to participation in the killings of Terry and Lucy Smith. He stated that he had worn rubber gloves to the Smith residence and that Bourgeois did not, and that he was wearing jeans and a T-shirt, which he had placed in Rodriguez's house. He also admitted to the police during the assaults on Terry and Lucy Smith that he went downstairs to get knives from the kitchen, and he used a knife to cut Lucy Smith's throat and shot her once. The police obtained a search warrant to Mama Dee's home later that night, and they got the clothing that Mike and Landon wore during the murders. They had found them in dark green plastic garbage bags in the laundry room, along with 3 bloody knives, a bloody claw hammer, Terry Smith's wallet, a purse with a cell phone, papers and cards belonging to Terry and Lucy Smith, a key ring, a roll of duct tape, 5 .22 caliber spent casings, a chocolate box full of personal items belonging to Terry and Lucy Smith, including credit cards and other items taken from the Smith residence. Money taken from the Smith home was found in a cigarette box in gold watering can in the kitchen. During the search, the police also observed in plain view items known to them to be stolen from the burglary, including the stuffed and mounted fox in a canvas bag with the family's name embroidered on one side. Love it. I'm
So
sorry. They they
so,
actually yeah.
like, the stuffed mountain fox. You know,
Yeah. It's like,
I
"Let's
always
steal this." Yeah.
I grew up with my great uncle who had 2, um, stuffed mounted heads. One was an antelope, and I can't remember what the other one was. But the thing is, like, you would walk into the kitchen, and every time you, like, turn on the light, it's like, "What? What's there?"
Yeah.
It's an antelope.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, I love it. I find it so I mean, it's like, this is obvious. This is an obvious, I mean, it sticks out in one's mind. A taxidermied fox, I mean, that sticks out in one's mind. And then just to prominently display it in your house while police are there.
he
It's like, I mean, we're not talking, geniuses here. And I'm so sorry. I mean, I'm not trying to, diminish the horror that this couple faced in their last moments of life. I'm not,
Right, especially
it's
by
just
their son.
exactly, exactly. By the, and it's just obviously, don't display if you're gonna still don't display this shit, but just, especially if the police are looking for you. They were warned the night before by Mike's parents, "Hey, the police are looking for you." Gee, what
Mhm.
could it be in regards to? why would we have the fox on display? I mean, we're not talking about
Right?
criminal geniuses here. I'm sorry.
No.
So, so they searched the attic while they were there, found several of the weapons stolen from the residence, along with ammunition and hunting supplies. Um, the 22 caliber and 32 caliber revolvers used in the murder were not found during the search. But officers left, and Mama D enlisted the help of her two teenage daughters and two young men to remove the two firearms from the residence and to dispose of them. On September the 8th, 2001, after a tip about suspicious activity by three juveniles, police recovered the 32 caliber Colt handgun from a dumpster located in Akron, approximately, half a mile from the Rodriguez's residence. It had been wrapped in plastic wrap, placed inside a Pizza Hut box, breadsticks box, and taped shut with masking tape.
Because that's not
Yeah,
suspicious. Don't be
exactly.
suspicious. Don't be
Exactly.
suspicious.
So on September the 26th, 2001, um, Detective Ship, with cooperation of the two male juveniles who were recruited by Mama D, recovered the 22 caliber revolver, which had been buried in a cornfield in Akron. Autopsies of the
Of
bodies,
course, it's a
yeah,
cornfield.
exactly. Autopsies of the bodies of Terry and Lucy Smith were performed on September the 7th. Um, at trial, the coroner, excuse me, the coroner testified that Terry Smith was stabbed 47 times in his neck. I'm sorry, his neck was cut at least
Hold
5
on,
times.
you kind of broke up there.
Okay. So at trial, the coroner testified that Terry Smith was stabbed 47 times. His neck was cut at least 5 times. He was shot execution style 5 times. He was strangled or asphyxiated. There were no defensive wounds on Terry Smith.
So
The evidence is that
so they tried to strangle him first, I'm gonna assume?
I'm
Then stabbed
that's what
him and
I'm
then
the evidence established that Terry Smith was tortured before being killed. So I mean, when they broke in, they ended up hog tying them.
mm,
According to the records, they entered the Smith's house probably around midnight, and they hog tied them. They found them in the bedroom, and they hog tied them. Then they carried Mr. Smith to the front bedroom. So, I don't know, I mean, I don't know how, I mean, I'm sure he struggled in the bindings, um,
right.
but yeah, I don't know what came first, the execution style shootings, um, that killed him instantly. I don't know the order of death, um,
That's really
yeah, and
it's
then,
really sad.
um, during the autopsy of Lucy Smith, Doctor Ross, the coroner, obtained swabbings from her mouth, which were examined and found to contain semen matching a sample of May's blood. Yeah.
Oh,
So he jerked off in her mouth while she was alive.
ugh,
Yeah.
my God.
Dr. Ross testified that Lucy Smith was cut 51 times, shot in the head, beaten on the left side of her head with a claw hammer, suffered blunt force trauma to the forehead, and was eventually smothered to death. I did read case files that her son Mike gave her the death blow by dropping a 41-inch TV on her head.
Like Scream.
Yeah, yeah. She did suffer defensive wounds to her hands and arms. The apparent reason for the torture was to obtain the PIN numbers to Terry Smith's bank cards, which were stolen and later recovered at Mama D's house. So I guess that's why they felt they could torture her for those PIN numbers. Um, Witnesses testified that the Smiths would be bound with duct tape with the purpose of forcing them to relinquish their ATM card PIN numbers before being killed. Um, Other scientific testing indicated that the blood discovered on the latex gloves and the DNA on the pants and t-shirt May was wearing at the time of the murders, both confiscated from Mama D's residence, were Lucy Smith's. Lucy Smith's blood was also found on the 13.5-inch knife recovered from Mama D's house.
Oof.
May's left thumb print was on the back of Terry Smith's Ephrata rec card. also recovered from the Rodriguez's home. Additionally, the 22 caliber casings recovered from the Rodriguez home were traced to one of the firearms stolen from the good residence from a few days earlier. Um, and that basically convicted May for sure. Um,
I mean, just
yeah, it was
Mhm.
needless to say for a small town of Ephrata, um, it was shocking. It was shocking. Um, knowing that Landon May's father is also on death row, um, made him, um,
Really?
make it yeah, he made headlines actually because, Landon later, once he was convicted to death and sentenced to death row. Landon, he was 19 at the time. He tried to, um, have his case thrown out, or reduced sentence because of his father being on death row, and he was trying to prove there was a genetic malfunction or a genetic issue,
Still
you
doesn't
know? I'm
matter.
kinda
You did the crime. It doesn't
yeah, yeah,
you have to pay for it.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
granted, death row, you know, I always have mixed feelings about it because I don't, because you are killing a human being, but yet why would we want to keep providing for people who are so depraved that they've done something this horrible, you know?
I
And,
yeah.
you know, I get it, and, like, especially if somebody's done something this horrible to the point where they tortured and they jerked off and, while no, no,
Yeah, I
no.
mean, it's definitely I know it's a touchy subject for a lot of people, um, because it is, you know, is it justified taking a life for a life? Um, but I mean, and that's not really, what I'm, what we're trying to debate here. But um,
Mhm.
these obviously were heinous crimes. I mean, absolutely heinous. But so yeah, but his father is Freeman May, and he was sentenced to death row in 1995 for stabbing a 22-year-old Lancaster woman. And
Yeah.
yeah, so uh apparently, he was trying to claim that there was some kind of I don't wanna say malfunction, but some kind of genetic issue, and it was his basically his father's fault because it was a genetic thing, and he had some
Okay.
kind of brain thing.
95
Yeah,
1995, so and he would have been about a year or 2 older, so,
yeah,
that was what, 7 years prior? 6 years
yeah,
prior?
yeah,
N no, sorry.
yeah,
There is I do believe that there is a bit of nurture and a bit of nature when it comes to
exactly,
these kind of things, but at the same
exactly.
time, you still have something in you saying, "I know this is wrong," but you still did something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's claiming, bad blood with a no. I mean, I mean, mental health, yes, can be passed down, but I'm sorry, the choice to murder somebody, and not and it be, like premeditated, because this was premeditated. It was
Mhm,
obviously premeditated. They planned this. If you snap and go crazy, I mean, that's why they have the insanity plea, because you snap and you go crazy and whatever. But I mean, I don't know. Reading the article about this, about Landon and his dad, and I guess his grandfather was involved too. His grandfather did, I think, was an abuser, and and it sounded like a nasty guy. I mean, it sounds like the family was kind of nasty.
mhm.
I really wouldn't want to be in a relationship with any of these guys.
No.
but, like, like, the grandfather had, Sydney had, like, multiple personalities, and apparently, like, he would drink, and his house, became a house of horrors, the grandfather of Landon May. His house became, like, this house of horrors, and so, I mean, yeah, maybe Landon's dad was screwed up by the grandfather. I don't know. Does that make someone a murderer? Not necessarily. I mean, it could screw up your life, but it all depends on how you get through it, I believe.
Mhm.
You
Right.
know? Um, I and so, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, so they were convicted. Like I said, Landon was Oh.
Sorry.
Oh
My alarm.
my gosh, that's okay.
Nothing
Just
like
scared
Buffy to
me. Um, so yeah, so, Landon was sentenced to, death. Like I said, he made history by joining his father, on death row, the first father and son to be sentenced to death for separate murders in Pennsylvania. Um, so he did obviously try to like I said, plead kind of not insanity, but kind of craziness. He the defense hired a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist concluded that Landon May was genetically predisposed to commit criminal acts. He came to the conclusion after reviewing Freeman May's convictions for murder and sexual assault and the case of Sidney May, who was the grandfather, that there was evidence for questioning whether or not he was um, like sorry, bear with me here. I lost my place. Yeah. So in the case of Sidney May, I guess he was also convicted of sexually assaulting his daughters. Um, but it was noted during the trial that May and his attorneys, they was basically irrelevant because Landon had never met his grandfather. Um, and he was 6 months old when his father was imprisoned.
Mhm.
So, it really doesn't matter, if the psychiatrist said there was maybe some kind of predisposition because he had no
Right, because
contact with the men in his family.
he still was informed and
Mhm.
of a mind where you know right from wrong.
Yeah,
Even for, like,
exactly.
somebody who's a sociopath, they know right from wrong, whether it's because they've been told continuously, "No, that is not." But they will cognizant they will know
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
their minds
Yeah.
that, okay,
Yeah.
they made this reference, "Don't hurt animals because that's bad.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
hurt people because that's bad."
Yeah. So, I mean, and I had a friend who was basically the attorneys, they showed pictures to the jury, the crime scene pictures. They showed pictures of Terry and Lucy Smith's bodies. Um, and because they wanted to show the severity. I mean, you're talking about close to 200 stab wounds,
Right.
for the couple. Um, and you know, if they hadn't shown the photographs, it would have been impossible for the jury to grasp fully the severity of the wounds, in fact, inflicted on Lucy and Terry Smith. And I don't think they would have really understood just what these people went through and that it was premeditated. It wasn't just like oh, they caught us stab once or, shoot, this was heinous.
Yes.
Um, so yes, so Landon received the death penalty, um, also because of the sexual assault of Mrs. Smith. And, Mike, did receive life sentence in prison for participating in the role. So did Mama D. Mama D
Good.
also got life in prison. Yeah,
Good.
me too. That's how I felt too. Um, even though, I mean, I guess Mike was 17 at the time. Um, and so Pennsylvania recently just passed a law that stated anyone who was convicted of, you know, serious crimes basically as a juvenile have to be retried, um, because they were juveniles and they shouldn't, you know, maybe have gotten life sentences. So Mike was actually retried, um, about 10 years ago, I think, maybe a little
Hmm.
bit less. He was
I
33, so yeah.
Yeah, just about 10 years ago.
And, so his sentence was slightly reduced. Slightly reduced. Um, I mean, he went on the stands and testified, that he, um, he went through several religions and he finally was rebaptized Christian.
Of course.
Yeah, his family, his sisters kind of were there and they were like, don't, we don't want him to, you know, we want him to have a chance at life, and, they forgave him, um,
Good
because
for
they feel
them.
like yeah, they feel like their mom would have wanted him to live, and I'm thinking, "Really? Really? Do you think she would've, or do you think she would've been a little bit bitter?" I don't know. That's me personally, like,
Mhm.
how do you think I mean, I love my child, but, I mean, if I don't know how I'd feel if, if I were to come back and be like, I don't know. I just um, but, basically, they reminded the courts that when Mike testified in court when he was 17, he showed no remorse.
Mhm.
He was very matter of fact about how he did it and why he did it, and showed no emotion. It was a cold basically, it was a very cold, testimony.
Mhm.
And so he was, like I said, sentence was slightly reduced, but and then, Steve Estes, I think, he was 20 at the time, and he got, I think, about, 17 years.
Mm.
So, but, yeah, it was definitely, a very, it was shocking. It was a very shocking case.
You know
It really rocked, and then, of course, you had 9/11, which kind of down I
right?
mean, that just yeah, screwed
Yeah.
everything up,
Well, this sounds
but
a lot like, um, something that happened in Pokey when I lived there in about, like, 2006, I think it was.
wow.
It was Cassie Jo Stoddart, um, was, killed, and I might do something on that because granted, I was still in college at the time, you know, and it happened right there in little old Mormonville. Um, but yeah, I mean, a lot of this sounds a lot like that. It's kind of the whole entire time I just kept thinking back, especially about the people who had killed Cassie. The way that they reacted and everything is a lot like that.
Yeah.
But also the other thing though too is like one of the people who killed Cassie, their mom was like, "Oh, he needs to be forgiven and stuff." And I'm like, "Fuck that. I'm sorry. I no, I hold grudges. It's the only thing I've ever been
I
able to keep."
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I am not a hateful person. I don't wanna see anybody hurt. I don't wanna see and I can't imagine my kid being like, if my kid was in that position, I don't know how I'd feel. I really don't. I mean, I if my kid was the person who murdered somebody, I don't know. I can't even imagine. I can't imagine how I'd feel. I mean, would I want my kid to die? No. But I would also I I mean, I think at least life imprisonment, is fair. I mean, in my mind, it's a life for a life. I mean, if it's an
Mhm.
accident, obviously it wouldn't be or just like a one, but this was pretty heinous. I
Planned
mean,
out.
like I said, I mean, just it was very planned out. And then you just go overboard and dropping a TV on her head. I remember a friend of mine. who actually just recently passed, 'cause I wanted to reach out to her too, 'cause she was on the jury.
Mm,
Um, and I remember her telling me, she said the pictures that they showed, she said they were graphic. She said it was horrible. She said sitting on that jury was traumatizing to her. And I mean, this was a grown woman, who had
mhm.
kids, I mean, and it was
Yeah,
traumatizing to her. And I just, I'm sorry. I mean,
I
if
know.
you do something like that, I mean, just, I think you kind of forfeit your rights. I mean, I don't know. I've
I
never
mean,
really.
as somebody who has worked on, Freedom of Information Acts for criminal cases, I totally get
Mhm.
it. And I think now, I mean, I have always wanted to do jury duty because I have always felt that,
I love it.
I need to,
Yes.
um, I am a person who has been educated a lot. And yes, I know I've also watched a lot of true crime documentaries and all of that stuff. But,
Mhm.
and also, like, it's my civic duty to be of the people
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
to be like, well, this person obviously is not to be in regular society, but at the
Yeah.
same time, you know, the images that I've seen or the things that I've read, they have had a what's the word I'm looking for? They did put an impression on me of, this is not right. And so it might disqualify me from ever being on jury,
Yeah.
but at least I'm willing to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I did it once. I loved it. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Um, because it was such a fascinating process to watch. It really was. It was a fascinating process. And I always kind of wanted to be a lawyer. Um,
Same.
I Yeah, and you know who really inspired me? The Cosby Show, Felicia Rashad, and she played
Mm,
an attorney, the attorney wife of Bill Cosby. Um,
I'm just
here was this
busy.
here was this strong woman who who was obviously very intelligent, very classy, who was, had a great job, a well-paid job. She knew her shit and she was confident, and I loved that. I loved that whole thing, and watching her, like, I was like, "Ooh," so I started, like, learning, like, legal jargon and stuff and, like, what this was, because I was like, "This is fascinating, and I really wanna do something like this."
Right.
And now that my husband is a paralegal, I know obviously I could not do. I mean, I don't have. I'm not saying I'm
Bandwidth.
dumb,
I
but
don't
I
have
just I
the
don't have the
bandwidth.
brains for it. Yeah, I don't have
Yeah,
the
I
brains
know.
for it. Um
Like, I loved my political science classes that I took, and I would have loved to, but then also at the same time, it's just a lot of bandwidth that you have to use,
uh,
and I'm
uh,
like, "No, I can't do that because my brain, I get burned out because I'm on a schedule."
well, I mean, I get very passionate, and I don't think I could stay, like, focused, like, on the law, because, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, like, defense attorneys, they don't care whether their client is guilty or not. They wanna make sure their client has a fair trial, and
Right.
their part is trying to give their client a fair trial, whether they're guilty or not. Um, you know, and the process, I mean, so you're using the law to debate, who's right and who's wrong, show precedents, things like, and I'm sorry, I don't think I could do that. I think I would get too passionate. I think I would get too involved. I think I would want, I
Especially if they were actually really truly guilty, I'd be like, "He did it! He
exactly,
did it! He
exactly.
did it!"
I mean, I don't know if I knew they were guilty, I don't think I could. But I mean, you're not trying to prove innocence. What you're trying to do is is show the jury, did the prosecuting attorney, you know, prove their case sufficiently enough to
Mhm.
show that there was, that this their client murdered. And I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, yes, everyone's has the right to a fair trial in this country, whether or not you're a citizen. By the way, I want to say
Yeah.
that because, you know,
It's in our
there's a lot of
constitution,
people. Exactly, exactly. Everyone has inalienable rights, and that is a part of, you know, everyone's, has equal opportunity, has these inalienable rights. I just don't know if I could defend someone I knew who was guilty because
Mhm.
I'm like, "You're guilty, dude. You should probably, But I mean, I understand the concept, but
Yes.
if I would've gone into law, I would have had to do something else probably, and also being, in front of a judge and a courtroom, I would have been really nervous to, like, speak and stuff, so that was kind of out. That was kind of out, but,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
But, oh my gosh, I just mm-mm. And, yeah, it kinda, I remembering how it kinda just rocks, especially,
Yeah,
like, the town,
yeah.
because
Well,
Pocatello, I mean, is moderate for Idaho, moderate
yeah,
city, and, and it shook like, all of
yeah,
Idaho, like, really bad, just like the U of I in Moscow, Idaho,
yeah, yeah,
because they all think, this is just safe, we all know each other and stuff, and I'm like, like, when I first moved to, Idaho, like, my stepdad rarely ever locked the door, and I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
"Uh-uh, uh-uh."
I
They're
know,
like,
I get it.
he would he would leave his keys in the car,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
okay?
I know people who do that. I know people who don't lock their doors in Lancaster County. I know people who leave their keys in cars. I do. Yeah. I mean, they figure, "Hey, we're not in Philly. We're not in Lancaster City." But you don't
Right,
know. Um, and I mean, and this was exceptionally I mean, but this was like family, this was family that did this. And Mike actually he testified that his mom begged for her life
yeah, I'm sure she did.
before he dropped a TV on her head.
Ugh.
So
And
yeah,
for anybody who's younger, these aren't simple, like, I'm sure I could probably end up with a pretty good concussion, maybe some traumatic brain injury if my TV fell on me,
and I mean,
on
if
my
and
head,
I think that
but
and I think that might have been what suffocated her, the TV. I don't know. I think from what I read, um, that was like the death blow. And if she was
mhm.
asphyxiated, I think that's might have been what
Yeah, because
killed
TVs
her.
back then were so fucking heavy.
And if they
I
were big and
mean
bulky. I mean,
yeah,
did
I
we
mean,
didn't have flat screens, right? We didn't have flat screens back then, did we?
no, because there was a lot of tube TVs
Yeah,
was the
yeah,
new
they were
bigger thing,
super
and
big with the back, yeah, with the back.
yeah, I mean, these things could easily weigh up to, like, 200 pounds,
Yeah.
depending on the
I
size.
mean, I just so yeah.
I mean, we
Um,
didn't even have, like, a 50-inch TV because that would be, like, 200 pounds, and that would take, like, 3 people to move it.
yeah, yeah. So no, I mean, like I said, I mean, that I remember walking into school my senior year, um, and just a few days into it, learning what happened, and we were just like, "Oh my god," and I was completely shocked because I was like, "This kid was in my homeroom. I saw him every day last year, and now he's in jail for this murder." I was
Mhm.
Yeah, these murders.
Yeah. Well, guess what?
Ah,
I spun the
oh,
wheel,
yes, yes,
and you got a free
and
space. Free
oh, okay,
space.
okay, awesome,
So that means you can
awesome,
do
awesome,
whatever you want. It tried to give you true
sweet.
crime again, and I'm like, "Excuse me? No, no."
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I don't mind true crime, but I mean, a little a little heavy. A little heavy.
Mhm. Yep, and I
Well,
have history next week,
awesome.
so and because of the world that we live in, and we don't and because a lot of us did grow up being in especially, like, purity culture was so big when we were growing up, especially if you were in church, you
Mhm.
know? I think that I am going to go over, like, the history of sex work and how it's actually proof beneficial.
I like it. I like it because I never that's one thing you're not taught in school is sex
Mhm,
workers throughout history, obviously. And I remember when I got this book about sex in the Civil War, I was like mind blown. I was like, "Oh my
mhm.
god, this is great." And I'm reading about, like a whole side of history I had never learned about before. It was fantastic.
Right, yeah.
And then, of course,
So,
the spoiled doves in the Old West and things like that. So, yeah, perfect.
yeah,
That's
I mean,
awesome.
Mata Hari,
Yeah, yeah,
you
there you
know?
go.
To bring up something, within the last 100 years, Mata Hari, there's a whole lot of
Yeah,
actual, ways that sex work has one brought around a lot of civilization. I mean, I was just reading about a temple where the women were what we would consider sex workers, and they would do acts to their deity. So, it's not it's not uh, it's not something that I could do personally. Um,
yeah.
but
I mean, I don't know if
and
I would ever get desperate enough. I mean, I joke, about like, "Hey, well, we need like $20,000. Maybe I'll just start working, street corners."
right,
But,
I'm gonna take some feet
um
pics.
exactly, exactly. But, it's what gets me is the double standard when it
Mhm,
comes to sex work. How the women are punished, but the
mhm,
men are not.
right,
Um, that gets me. It's like, you know what? It takes 2, you know?
right.
It's,
And
if
the thing is
you're
too is men are escorts as well.
yeah,
There have been plenty
yeah,
of
yeah,
brothels over time that would offer men
mhm,
as well.
yeah.
So,
And even, like, male
because guess
escorts, I
what?
mean yeah,
Homosexuality has been around
mhm,
forever. I
mhm.
mean, it's in animals, and in a way, we came from animals. We all share DNA.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
so people do have their predilections towards male, female, they, them, anything. And
mhm,
so it's not just women that have been in
yeah,
sex work either.
yeah.
So
But I feel like it
it's
is
a
more the women who are prosecuted.
yes,
It is the
yes, it
women who are
definitely
punished.
is. Yes,
And
because
despite the fact
never
that these men, and a lot of them even being, like, politicians, men in power,
Mhm.
get nothing. If anything, a slap on the wrist.
Right.
And it's the women who get branded. It's the women who get arrested and records and, branded
Mhm.
as being whores and sluts and, whatever, name called. And the men get nothing.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
looking
for
forward to it.
me,
Looking forward to it.
it's something that yeah, I mean, here's the thing, you're willing to use what you have available to you, go ahead, it's your body, it's your choice, and, it needs to be a lot safer as well.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, women, once again, if we, make abortions and birth control harder to access, women are going to need to find ways to make ends meet, especially if they're baby daddies or whoever are not paying child support, um,
Mhm.
we get paid less to begin with,
Mhm.
and women need to find ways to support themselves. And
Right.
sex, men want sex. That's always been, always will be.
Mhm. And
Um,
there are women want sex too, and if it's something
but I
that
mean,
you
but I
can
mean, it's
trade
really
on.
not about. I mean, it's really not about the sex. I think for the women. I mean, I think that it's more of a. This is a way that I can get money to support myself, my family, my
Mhm.
kids, whatever. That's not really about sex with them. It's sex, for the men because it's like, hey, pussy,
Mhm.
why not? Um,
Right.
but, for the women, I feel like it's more like, this is what I gotta do, um, to make ends meet and to,
Right, because that is what, if you think about even like Jack the Ripper time,
Mhm. Yeah.
even though he was out there murdering, there were still women that still had to go out because they couldn't get employed anywhere,
Mhm.
because this is a time when women weren't highly educated,
Mhm.
and if they didn't have a man.
Or if they had a substance abuse problem, if they had a drinking problem, they needed the money.
Mhm.
If they had kids
Exactly.
to support, they needed the money. Women didn't have a whole lot of options back
No,
then. We had a squat back then.
exactly.
We were not allowed to do anything.
We couldn't
Uh,
own property,
your
all of these
property.
things.
Or
Yeah,
your property of
right.
either our fathers or husbands,
Or pimps.
whoever. Yeah. So,
So, yeah,
I'm excited. Yeah.
it's gonna be quite interesting to go through,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Are you doing it throughout history, or are you doing a certain time period in history?
I'm gonna do throughout history, so it's not gonna be, like, super comprehensive,
Okay.
but, I will select certain times to kind of show throughout
Mhm.
time how everything has changed and how things were,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
and
Okay.
how it has helped and how it has affected, growth and everything like that.
Okay. All right.
Gonna be
Sounds
my
good. I'm excited.
dissertation.
I'm excited for it. I really am.
Yeah.
So,
So anything fun coming up for you this week?
well, I was supposed to get my acupuncture tomorrow for my back. Now I'm gonna be meeting with the heating people, to give us estimates, I guess, as to what they can offer us. So I have to cancel that appointment. Yay. And with the snow that's happening, I haven't even looked at my window, but I don't even know if that's gonna happen with the snow because who knows? It's supposed to snow like, well, the kids, I mean, first of all, before it even started snowing, I was called I was notified that my doctor's offices are all gonna open at like 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. They never open late. I was like looking outside, I'm like, dude, it's not even doing anything yet. And you're calling. I was like, wow. In the 17 years I've worked at this, or 19 years I've worked in this healthcare facility. I mean, I can count on like one hand how many times they've called us off or they've, set their hours back, and open later, which I get. They're healthcare facilities. Um,
Mhm.
but
Need to borrow my Subaru?
well, that's what I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I remember times where I've looked out my window and I'm like, it's white everywhere, and we had to go in at the same time. And like we weren't called off, we weren't, nothing. I was like, really? And of course, now that I work from
It's like
home, like it doesn't
Idaho.
matter. Yeah. Well, now that I work from home, it doesn't matter if because I don't have to go anywhere. Yay. But I'm like, really? Now they're opening up. Oh, so yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah. Who knows?
in Idaho, believe me, I've sat there through some pretty nasty storms, and I'm like, "Seriously? Seriously?" My inner Pennsylvanian is screaming.
Oh my
So,
god, that's great.
uh, yeah, I don't have anything interesting. Just work. Just work and work and working on getting my pharmacy technician certification as well. So, that's all I'm doing. I'm a boring adult now. So,
Hmm.
all right. Well,
All
hit us
right.
up on all of our socials. We've got
Yeah.
Insta, we've got Facebook. Email us your random crazy incidences, like you got abducted by aliens or uh, you ran into John Wayne Gacy or uh, I don't know. My brain's now short circuiting because it's thinking about mashed potatoes.
Oh, mashed potatoes.
Yep,
Now
it's
you
dinner time, just about. So
now you
I
sound like my
made,
daughter. Mashed potatoes.
well, I mean, I did live in Idaho
Yeah,
for a
no,
long time. I know
I
about
definitely
good
get it.
potatoes.
I definitely get it. No, I definitely get it. Ah, all right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. I hope you, once again, I don't want to use the term enjoyed, but I hope you,
We're
um,
entertained. No,
I even
you
cringe
were
at that.
informed. I know.
Informed,
You were informed.
um, about this incident, this heinous crime that took the lives of, two people who were in their early 50s, very, still very young, especially since we're about 10 years away from that. Um, I know, I know. Um, and just rocked the town of Ephrata, Pennsylvania back in September of 2001. So please, if you're interested, look it up, read more about it, form your own opinions, but
And
let us know what you think.
if you see anything that could potentially be harmful, you know, say something about it to
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. If you think you hear something, I mean, like, these teenage girls testifying that they would hear, Mama D and the boys talking about duct taping people and, watching them do like blood oaths, to keep silent about the murders. I mean, these girls should have said something,
Mhm,
Maybe they could have, I mean, yes, they were like 15, 16 at the time, but maybe they could have saved lives
mhm,
if they reported it.
yep.
So,
So, all right, nerdlings, we love you. We hope
yes,
to
yes.
hear from you, and I
Yes.
guess we'll talk
See you
at you
next week.
next week.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Love you
Have a good
guys.
week. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.